A magical night in Paris unlocked the dreams of a city where time stands still. Dear friend, gather round and make yourself comfortable. Tonight, I have a tale to tell that will transport you to a world of wonder, magic, and self-discovery. This isn't just any story, it's a journey that will captivate your senses, stir your imagination, and perhaps even change the way you see the world around you. Before we begin, I want you to close your eyes for a moment. Take a deep breath. Can you feel the softness of your favorite chair beneath you? The warmth of a cozy blanket draped over your legs? Perhaps you have a steaming cup of tea or cocoa within reach, its aroma mingling with the crisp scent of a winter's night. Now, open your eyes. The room around you has transformed. The walls have faded away, replaced by the twinkling lights of Paris in wintertime. Snow is falling gently outside your window, each flick a tiny crystal ballet dancer pirouetting through the air. Can you see it? Can you feel the magic beginning to stir? As we embark on this adventure together, I want you to know something important. This story is more than just words on a page or sounds in the air. It's a key to unlocking the extraordinary that exists within the ordinary, the magic that resides in the everyday. And you, my dear listener, are about to discover that you possess this key. So, are you ready? Are you ready to step into a Paris where dreams come to life, where the impossible becomes possible, and where you might just discover a part of yourself you never knew existed? If so, then let our tale begin. The Bookshop of Lost Dreams. Our story begins on a crisp December evening in Paris. The air is thick with possibility, and delicate snowflakes are beginning to fall, transforming the city of light into a glittering winter wonderland. But before we meet our protagonist, let me paint you a picture of this enchanted city. Imagine the Eiffel Tower, its iron lattice dusted with white, like a giant Christmas ornament piercing the night sky. The Seine River flows gently through the heart of the city, its dark waters reflecting the twinkling lights of bridges and boats. The streets are a maze of cobblestones and hidden alleyways, each corner holding the promise of a new adventure. Now, focus your mind's eye on a particular street in the Marais district. It's a narrow, winding lane that seems to have been forgotten by time. The buildings here lean in close, their weathered facades telling stories of centuries past. And it's here, on this unremarkable street, that our remarkable tale truly begins. Meet Elise Beaumont, a 32-year-old artist from New York who's recently moved to Paris. Elise isn't just any artist, she's a dreamer, a seeker of beauty in the mundane. But lately, life has been unkind to our Elise. A painful breakup 6 months ago left her heart in pieces, and a stubborn creative block has plagued her for even longer. She came to Paris seeking inspiration, a fresh start, and perhaps a little magic to reignite her passion for art and life. As Elise walks along the cobblestone street, her boots crunching softly in the fresh snow, take a moment to really see her. Her cheeks are flushed from the cold, her dark curly hair peeking out from under a soft burgundy beret. She's clutching her worn leather sketchbook to her chest like a shield, her eyes wide with wonder as she takes in the magical scene around her. Can you see the hope in her eyes, mingled with a touch of melancholy? Can you feel the weight of her unfulfilled dreams? Elise turns a corner, and suddenly she finds herself face to face with a quaint bookshop. The sign above the door, written in elegant gold script, reads Le Libraire de Rêves Perdus, the bookseller of lost dreams. The windows are foggy, but through them she can see the warm glow of lights and rows upon rows of books, their spines a colorful tapestry against the weathered wooden shelves. Now, dear listener, I want you to pay close attention, for this is no ordinary bookshop. As Elise pushes open the heavy wooden door, a small bell tinkles softly to announce her arrival. And in that moment, everything changes. The moment she steps inside, the air shifts. It feels different, charged somehow. The scent of old books, leather, and cinnamon fills her nostrils, and she hears the soft crackle of a fireplace. But there's something else too, a faint whisper just at the edge of hearing, as if the books themselves are murmuring secrets to each other. Behind the counter stands an elderly man with twinkling eyes the color of storm clouds and a knowing smile that seems to hold the secrets of the universe. This is Monsieur Laurent, the owner of the shop. But is he really just a shopkeeper? Or is he something more? Remember his face, dear listener, for Monsieur Laurent will play a crucial role in our tale. Bonsoir, mademoiselle, he greets Elise, his voice warm and rich like aged cognac. I've been expecting you. Elise raises an eyebrow, a mixture of curiosity and skepticism crossing her face. Expecting me? But I've never been here before. I didn't even know this place existed until a moment ago. Monsieur Laurent's smile only grows, revealing laugh lines etched deeply around his eyes and mouth. Ah, but the shop has been waiting for you, my dear. It has a way of finding those who are searching, those who need a little magic in their lives. As Elise browses the shelves, her fingers trailing along the spines of ancient tomes, leather-bound journals, and books in languages she's never seen before, she feels drawn to a particular volume. Its cover is as white as the snow outside, with silver lettering that seems to shimmer and change in the firelight. When she opens it, she gasps. There, on the first page, written in elegant script, is her name. That book, Monsieur Laurent says softly, suddenly beside her, how did he move so quietly, is very special. It's for people who are a little lost, people who are searching for something, even if they don't know what it is yet. Are you ready for an adventure, Elise? Before she can answer, the words on the page begin to swirl and dance, like ink dissolving in water. Elise feels a tugging sensation, as if invisible threads are gently pulling her forward. The shop around her begins to fade, the edges of reality blurring like a watercolor painting left out in the rain. And just like that, dear listener, our Elise is about to embark on a journey that will change her life forever. But before we follow her into this new world, I want you to take a moment to reflect. Have you ever felt like Elise? A little lost, a little broken, searching for something you can't quite name? If so, then perhaps this story is meant for you too. For you see, the magic that Elise is about to discover isn't just in the pages of that mysterious book. It's all around us, in every moment, in every breath. We just need to learn how to see it. And who knows? By the end of this tale, you might just discover that you've had the key to your own magical adventure all along. Now, are you ready to step through the looking glass with Elise? To discover a Paris beyond your wildest dreams? Then let's continue our journey. The city of dreams. Suddenly, Elise finds herself back on the snowy streets of Paris, but not the Paris she knows. This Paris is different, more vibrant, more alive. The air thrums with energy, and every snowflake seems to whisper secrets as it falls. The buildings around her are the same, yet not, their colors more vivid, their architecture more fantastical, as if drawn from the imagination of a brilliant artist, which, in a way, they are. Take a moment to see this new Paris through Elise's eyes. The Eiffel Tower in the distance now seems to be made of spun sugar, its levels slowly rotating like a giant carousel. The street lamps are no longer mere posts with lights, but elegant Art Nouveau creations that look like blooming flowers, their petals unfurling to reveal soft, golden light. The cobblestones beneath Elise's feet pulse with a soft, rhythmic glow, as if the very streets are alive and breathing. And the sky. Oh, the sky is a canvas of swirling colors, deep purples, midnight blues, and flashes of silver that might be stars or might be something else entirely. As Elise wanders through this enchanted version of the city, her artist's eye drinking in every detail, she encounters a cast of extraordinary characters. First, there's Julian, a street musician whose violin playing can literally make the stars dance. She finds him in a small square, his fingers flying over the strings of his instrument, a crowd of mesmerized onlookers surrounding him. Julian is tall and lanky, with unruly chestnut hair and eyes that change color with the music he plays. Right now, as he coaxes a haunting melody from his violin, his eyes are a deep, midnight blue. His clothes are a patchwork of textures and colors, a velvet jacket the color of forest moss, trousers that seem to be woven from moonbeams, and boots that look like they're made of burnished starlight. As Elise approaches, drawn by the haunting melody, Julian looks up and their eyes meet. In that moment, the music swells, wrapping around Elise like a warm embrace, making her feel things she's never felt before, the exhilaration of first love, the bittersweet ache of nostalgia, the fierce joy of creating something beautiful. "Welcome, Elise," Julian says, lowering his violin. "I've been playing for you." "For me?" Elise asks, surprised. "But how did you know I was coming?" Julian's smile is enigmatic, a mix of mischief and mystery. "The music always knows. It's been waiting for you, just like this city has. Are you ready to hear the song of your heart?" Before Elise can respond, a gust of wind sweeps through the square, carrying with it the mouth-watering scent of freshly baked pastries. The aroma wraps around them, tugging gently, urging them to follow. Julian holds out his hand to Elise, his eyes twinkling with mischief and promise. "Shall we see where it leads us?" he asks. Elise hesitates for just a moment before placing her hand in his. Together, they follow the scent through winding alleyways and hidden passages, the snow crunching beneath their feet and the stars wheeling overhead. As they walk, the city seems to shift and change around them. One moment, they're passing by a cafe where the patrons are all characters from famous paintings, animated and chatting over cups of coffee that steam with rainbow-colored vapors. The next, they're crossing a bridge over the Seine, but the water below is not water at all. It's a river of liquid starlight, flowing and eddying with dreams and forgotten wishes. The scent guides them to a tiny shop tucked between two buildings, so narrow you might miss it if you blinked. A sign above the door reads, "Les Sau hates sucres de Madame Beauregard, Madame Beauregard's sweet wishes." Through the frosted window, they can see an array of pastries that look too beautiful to be real, eclairs that shimmer like opals, macarons that seem to float above their trays, and a crocum bush that spirals towards the ceiling in a gravity-defying tower. As they push open the door, a wave of warmth and sweetness envelopes them. Behind the counter stands Madame Beauregard, a woman who could be anywhere from 60 to 600 years old. Her cloud of white hair is piled atop her head like a meringue, and her apron is dusted with flour and sparkling sugar. Her eyes, when they meet Elise's, are the deep blue-green of the ocean and seem to hold just as many secrets. "Ah, there you are," Madame Beauregard says, her voice warm and rich as melted chocolate. "I've been waiting for you, my dears. The timer on the oven told me you were coming." She winks at their confused expressions. "Now, who's ready for a taste of magic?" She offers Elise a glistening eclair, its surface reflecting the light like mother of pearl. "Careful what you wish for, my dear," she says with another wink. Sometimes, the universe has a funny way of giving us exactly what we need, rather than what we think we want. As Elise bites into the pastry, Flavors explode on her tongue, childhood memories of summer days and scraped knees, dreams she'd forgotten of flying over cities of light, hopes for the future that taste of starlight and possibility, all swirling together in a symphony of taste that brings tears to her eyes. What was that? Elise asks, her voice trembling with emotion. Madame Beauregard's smile is gentle. That, my dear, was you. All your memories, your dreams, your potential, everything that makes you uniquely Elise. Sometimes we need a little reminder of who we are and who we could be. As they leave the patisserie, the night seems to have deepened, the stars burning even brighter overhead. Julien takes Elise's hand again, and together they continue their exploration of this magical Paris. Dear listener, can you feel the magic building? Can you taste the sweetness of that eclair on your tongue? Feel the warmth of Julien's hand in yours? This is just the beginning of Elise's journey, and yours too. For as you listen, you're not just hearing a story, you're becoming part of it. The magic that Elise is discovering? It's within you too. But our night is far from over. There are more wonders to behold, more secrets to uncover. Are you ready to delve deeper into this enchanted Paris? To meet more extraordinary characters and perhaps discover something extraordinary about yourself? Then let's continue our journey. The Underground Wonders. As Elise and Julien wander through the magical streets of Paris, hand in hand, the city continues to reveal its secrets. They discover hidden rooftop gardens dusted with snow, where flowers bloom impossibly in the winter chill, their petals glowing softly in the starlight. Imagine, if you will, roses made of frosted crystal, their petals tinkling gently in the breeze. Lilies that pulse with soft, bioluminescent light, and sunflowers that actually turn to follow the movement of the stars overhead. But it's what they find beneath the streets that truly takes Elise's breath away. As they're passing by an ordinary-looking metro station, Julien tugs on Elise's hand, a mischievous glint in his eye. Want to see something really special? He asks. Without waiting for an answer, he pulls her down the steps. But instead of the familiar tiles and turnstiles of a Paris metro, they find themselves in a vast underground cavern glowing with bioluminescent fungi. The mushrooms create constellations beneath the earth to mirror those above, casting a soft, ethereal light over everything. Welcome, Julien says with a sweeping gesture, to the Paris Undercity. The cavern stretches out before them, a vast underground world teeming with life and magic. Streams of glowing water meander through the space, their banks lined with crystals that seem to sing softly when touched. Strange, friendly creatures scurry about. Are those rabbits with butterfly wings? Foxes with bodies that shimmer like mirages? As they explore this subterranean wonder, they come across a group of people gathered around a central plaza. Here, beneath a canopy of glowing mushrooms, they find an unexpected sight, an open-air cafe bustling with activity despite being hundreds of feet below the streets of Paris. This is no ordinary cafe, though. The tables and chairs seem to be growing directly out of the cavern floor, shaped from living stone and cushioned with soft moss. The patrons are an eclectic mix. There are beings that look human at first glance, but a second look reveals pointed ears or eyes that glow in the dim light. There are creatures that could have stepped out of a fairy tale, and others that defy description entirely. An elegant figure glides towards Elise and Julien, her movements as fluid as water. This is Celeste, the proprietress of the underground cafe. Her skin shimmers with an opalescent sheen, and her hair seems to be made of living shadows, constantly shifting and changing. When she speaks, her voice is like the chiming of distant bells. "Welcome, dreamers," Celeste says, her smile radiant. "What brings you to our little corner of the Undercity?" Before Elise can respond, a cup appears in her hands. It's warm to the touch, and the liquid inside swirls with colors she's never seen before. "Drink," Celeste urges gently. "It's a specialty of ours, liquid inspiration. It has a way of opening doors." Elise hesitates for just a moment before taking a sip. The flavor is indescribable. It tastes like the color of sunset, like the feeling of a breakthrough after weeks of creative block, like the first notes of a song you've always known but have just remembered. As the warmth of the drink spreads through her body, Elise feels a tingling in her fingertips. She reaches for her sketchbook almost without thinking, and as she begins to draw, she gasps. The lines seem to flow from her pencil of their own accord, creating images more vivid and alive than anything she's ever drawn before. Scenes from the magical Paris above and the wondrous undercity below blend together on the page. The Eiffel Tower sprouts roots that delve deep into the earth, connecting with the glowing mushrooms below. The Seine becomes a ribbon of starlight winding through both worlds. And everywhere, there are people and creatures dancing together in a celebration of magic and life. As Elise draws, she feels something shifting within her. The weight of her past heartbreaks, her creative blocks, her self-doubt, all of it begins to lift. In its place, she feels a sense of possibility, of potential, of magic. Julian watches her with a soft smile, his eyes reflecting the bioluminescent light around them. "You're remembering, aren't you?" he asks gently. "Remembering the magic that's been inside you all along." Elise looks up from her drawing, her eyes shining. "I am," she whispers. "But how? How is all of this possible?" Celeste laughs, the sound like tinkling crystals. "My dear, in this Paris, in this world, the only limit is your imagination. The magic you're experiencing? It's always been there, waiting for you to notice it, to believe in it." As if to emphasize her point, a group of musicians in the corner of the cafe begin to play. Their instruments are unlike anything Elise has ever seen: crystalline flutes that play colors instead of notes, drums that beat with the rhythm of heartbeats, a harp whose strings seem to be made of moonlight. The music fills the cavern, and suddenly everyone, humans, creatures, and beings beyond description, begins to dance. Elise finds herself swept up in the celebration, twirling with Julian beneath the canopy of glowing mushrooms, her laughter joining the melody of the underground symphony. As she dances, Elise realizes something profound. The magic isn't just in this hidden Paris, in the shimmering streets above or the wondrous caverns below. The magic is in her art, in her dreams, in her ability to see beauty and possibility in the world around her. For the first time in longer than she can remember, Elise feels truly, completely alive. And as the night continues, full of more wonders and discoveries, she knows that her journey is far from over. In fact, it's only just beginning. But what other secrets does this magical Paris hold? What truths will Elise uncover about herself? And how will this night of enchantment change her life? The clockwork heart of Paris. As the underground celebration reaches its crescendo, a distant chime echoes through the cavern. The sound is deep and resonant, felt as much as heard, and it seems to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. The dancers pause, the musicians' instruments fade to silence, and all eyes turn towards Celeste. "Ah," she says, her opalescent skin shimmering with excitement, "it's time." The heart of Paris calls. Julian turns to Elise, his eyes sparkling with anticipation. "Are you ready for another adventure?" Before Elise can respond, the cavern begins to shift. The walls seem to melt away, revealing a network of tunnels that twist and turn like the inner workings of a giant clock. Gears of all sizes, some as small as a fingernail, others larger than a house, line the walls, ticking and turning in perfect synchronization. Celeste leads the way, gliding effortlessly through the mechanical labyrinth. Elise and Julian follow, along with a handful of other curious souls from the underground cafe. As they navigate the clockwork corridors, Elise notices something peculiar. Each gear they pass seems to reflect a different aspect of Paris life. Here, a miniature Louvre spins within the teeth of a golden cog. There, the bustling Champs-Élysées unfolds along the curve of a silver wheel. What is this place? Elise asks, her voice filled with wonder. This, Julian replies, his voice soft with reverence, is the clockwork heart of Paris. It's what keeps the magic of the city alive. As they round a final corner, they emerge into a vast circular chamber. In the center stands an enormous mechanism, a complex arrangement of gears, levers, and pendulums, all moving in an intricate dance. At its core pulses a brilliant light, shifting through all the colors of the rainbow and some that Elise has no name for. The heart, Celeste announces, gesturing towards the pulsing light. It beats with the dreams, hopes, and imaginations of everyone in Paris, both in the world above and the world below. As Elise watches, mesmerized, she notices something alarming. One of the gears, a large one near the center of the mechanism, is moving erratically, its teeth grinding against its neighbors with a harsh, discordant sound. "Oh no," Celeste murmurs, her brow furrowing with concern. The gear of inspiration is faltering. If it fails... What happens if it fails? Elise asks, a knot of anxiety forming in her stomach. Julian's face is grim. If the gear of inspiration fails, the magic begins to fade. Dreams become harder to reach, creativity withers, and the wonder slowly drains from the world. Celeste turns to Elise, her eyes intense. "This is why you're here, Elise. The heart has called you for a reason. You, with your artist's eye and your newly awakened sense of magic, might be able to repair the gear." Elise feels a moment of panic. Me? But I don't know anything about magical clockwork. Julian takes her hand, his touch reassuring. You don't need to. The heart responds to imagination, to creativity. Use your art, Elise. Show it what inspiration means to you. Taking a deep breath, Elise opens her sketchbook. Her hand trembles slightly as she puts pencil to paper, but as she begins to draw, something remarkable happens. The lines she creates begin to lift off the page, shimmering with golden light. They swirl around her, then flow towards the faltering gear. As Elise draws, she pours everything into her art, the wonder she's experienced tonight, the joy of rediscovering her passion, the thrill of believing in magic again. She draws the twinkling lights of Paris, the mysterious beauty of the Undercity, the faces of the extraordinary beings she's met. With each stroke of her pencil, the golden lines grow stronger, weaving themselves into the teeth of the gear. Slowly, the harsh grinding sound fades. The gear begins to move more smoothly, its rhythm aligning with the rest of the heart. The pulsing light at the core grows brighter, and a wave of warmth washes over everyone in the chamber. As Elise lowers her sketchbook, breathing heavily from the effort, she looks around in amazement. The entire clockwork heart seems more vibrant now, each gear turning with renewed purpose. Celeste approaches her, eyes shining with gratitude. You've done it, Elise. You've renewed the gear of inspiration. Can you feel it? And Elise can. There's a new energy in the air, a sense of possibility that makes her fingers itch to create, to explore, to dream. Julian squeezes her hand. You've given a great gift to Paris tonight, Elise. To both worlds. As the group begins to make their way back through the clockwork corridors, Elise feels different. The magic she's experienced, the challenges she's overcome, they've changed her. She's not just an observer of this magical world anymore. She's a part of it. But as they near the exit, a new sound reaches their ears. A discordant chime, like a bell cracking. Celeste and Julian exchange worried glances. What is it? Elise asks, sensing their unease. What's wrong? Celeste's voice is grim as she responds, it's the Tower of Time. Something's amiss in the flow of hours. Our night of magic may be coming to an unexpected end. As they hurry towards this new disturbance, Elise realizes that her adventure in this magical Paris is far from over. New challenges await, and with them, new opportunities to discover the depths of her own magic. The Tower of Time. The discordant chime grows louder as Elise, Julian, and Celeste race through the clockwork corridors. The walls around them seem to blur, time and space bending in ways that make Elise's head spin. Finally, they emerge into the open air of Paris once more, but the city that greets them is not the one they left behind. The enchanted Paris that had been bathed in starlight and possibility now seems fractured. The Eiffel Tower, once a beacon of twinkling lights, now flickers erratically, parts of it fading in and out of existence. The streets below are a patchwork of different times. Here, a scene from the roaring 1920s. There, a glimpse of a futuristic Paris with flying cars and holographic billboards. The Tower of Time, Celeste breathes, pointing to a structure that Elise is certain wasn't there before. Rising above the Paris skyline is an impossible tower that seems to be made of pure light and shadow. Its architecture is a blend of every style that has ever graced Paris, from Gothic spires to Art Nouveau curves to sleek modern lines. But the most striking feature is the enormous clock face at its summit, its hands spinning wildly in all directions. What's happening? Elise asks, her voice barely a whisper. Julian's face is grim. Time is unraveling. The past, present, and future of Paris are bleeding into each other. If we don't stop it, Celeste finishes, Paris as we know it, both the magical and the mundane, could cease to exist. As they watch, a ripple of temporal energy pulses out from the tower. When it passes over them, Elise gasps as she sees Julian and Celeste flicker, momentarily replaced by younger and older versions of themselves. We need to get to the tower, Celeste says, her form stabilizing. The control room at the top is where we can set things right. But reaching the tower proves to be a challenge unlike any Elise has faced before. The streets of Paris have become a maze of time zones. One step might take them from a medieval marketplace to a futuristic transit hub. Scenes from Paris's past, present, and potential futures blend and clash around them. As they navigate this temporal labyrinth, Elise finds herself drawing on everything she's learned during this magical night. She uses her newfound connection to the city's magic to sense safe paths through the shifting timescape. Her artist's eye helps her spot patterns in the chaos, guiding them closer to the tower. Along the way, they gather unlikely allies. A young Ernest Hemingway stumbles out of a 1920s cafe, offering his assistance with a roguish grin. A holographic tour guide from the 22nd century provides valuable information about the tower's structure. Even the Phantom of the Opera makes an appearance, using his knowledge of hidden passages to help them avoid temporal dead ends. As they finally reach the base of the Tower of Time, a new challenge presents itself. The entrance is guarded by a sphinx-like creature with the body of a lion, the wings of an eagle, and a face that shifts between youth, maturity, and old age. To ascend the Tower of Time, the Sphinx announces in a voice that echoes through the ages, you must prove your mastery over past, present, and future. Answer my riddles 3, or be lost in time forevermore. Elise steps forward, her heart pounding, but her resolve firm. I'm ready, she says, surprising herself with the steadiness of her voice. The Sphinx's eyes gleam with approval. Very well. First riddle, I am always coming, but never arrive. What am I? Elise thinks for a moment, then smiles. Tomorrow, she answers confidently. The Sphinx nods. Correct. Second riddle, I am the beginning of eternity, the end of time and space, the beginning of every end, and the end of every place. What am I? This one takes Elise longer, but as she ponders, her eyes fall on her sketchbook. Suddenly, it clicks. The letter E, she exclaims. Another nod from the Sphinx. Well reasoned. Now, for the final riddle, what force and strength cannot get through, I with a gentle touch can do. And many in the street would stand, were I not a friend at hand. What am I? Elise furrows her brow, running through possibilities in her mind. She thinks of all she's experienced tonight, the magic, the wonder, the connections she's made. And then she knows. A key, she says softly. The answer is a key. The Sphinx's face settles into a serene expression of agelessness. You have proven your worth, time traveler. The way is open to you. As the Sphinx fades away, the entrance to the tower shimmers into existence. Elise, Julian, and Celeste exchange determined looks before stepping inside. The interior of the tower is a dizzying spiral staircase that seems to stretch infinitely both up and down. As they begin their ascent, Elise can see moments from Paris's history playing out in the space around them, the construction of Notre Dame, the storming of the Bastille, the liberation of Paris in 1944. Be careful, Celeste warns as they climb. Don't get lost in the visions of past or future. We need to reach the control room at the top. Higher and higher they climb, the air growing thinner, charged with temporal energy. Finally, they reach a door made of swirling light and shadow. Beyond it, Elise can hear the grinding of massive gears and the ticking of countless clocks. This is it, Julian says, his hand on the door. Are you ready, Elise? Once we step inside, we'll have to face whatever's causing this temporal chaos. Elise takes a deep breath, feeling the weight of Paris's past, present, and future on her shoulders. But she also feels something else, a sense of purpose, of belonging to this magical world she's discovered. I'm ready, she says, her voice ringing with determination. As Julian pushes open the door, blinding light spills out. Elise steps forward, ready to face whatever challenges await, ready to fight for the Paris she's come to love, in all its times and all its magic. But what awaits them in the control room? What force could be powerful enough to unravel time itself? And will Elise's newfound magic be enough to set things right? The answers lie just beyond that shimmering door, in the heart of the Tower of Time. The Clockmaker's Dilemma. As Elise steps through the shimmering door into the control room of the Tower of Time, she's momentarily blinded by a brilliant light. When her vision clears, she gasps at the sight before her. The room is a vast, circular chamber, its walls lined with countless clocks of every size and design imaginable. At the center stands an enormous mechanism, a complex array of gears, levers, and pendulums that seems to be the source of the temporal disturbances. But But what truly catches Elise's attention is the figure hunched over the central mechanism. It's an elderly man, his silver hair wild and unkempt, his clothes a patchwork of different eras. As he turns to face them, Elise is struck by the deep sorrow in his eyes. "Monsieur Laurent?" Elise exclaims, recognizing the kindly bookshop owner who had started her on this magical journey. The old man nods, a sad smile playing on his lips. "I'm sorry, my dear. I never meant for things to go this far." Celeste steps forward, her opalescent skin shimmering with concern. "Maurice, what have you done?" Monsieur Laurent, or Maurice, as Celeste called him, sighs heavily. "I am the clockmaker, the guardian of time for Paris. For centuries, I've watched over the flow of hours, ensuring the smooth transition from past to present to future. But lately..." He trails off, his gaze distant. "Lately what?" Julian prompts gently. "Lately, I've felt the magic fading," Maurice continues. "The wonder, the creativity, the joie de vivre that has always made Paris special, it's been slipping away. I thought if I could just adjust things a little, bring back some of the city's golden ages, infuse the present with the best of the past." But it backfired, Elise realizes. The time streams got tangled. Maurice nods miserably. "I lost control. And now, if we don't fix it soon, all of Paris, past, present, and future, could unravel completely." Elise approaches the central mechanism, her artist's eye taking in its intricate design. "How do we fix it?" "We need to reset the time streams," Celeste explains. "Separate past, present, and future, and set them flowing in the right direction again." But it's not just a matter of mechanics. The reset needs to be powered by the very essence of Paris, its creativity, its passion, its magic. Julian turns to Elise, his eyes shining with faith in her. "That's where you come in, Elise. Your art, your newfound connection to the city's magic, you can be the conduit for that essence." Elise feels a moment of doubt. "But I'm just one person. How can I channel the essence of an entire city?" Maurice places a gnarled hand on her shoulder. "My dear, you've already proven tonight that you carry the spirit of Paris within you. Your journey through the magical city, your defense of the clockwork heart, you've touched the soul of Paris. Now, you just need to let it flow through you." Understanding dawns on Elise. She opens her sketchbook, flipping through the drawings she's made throughout the night, the enchanted streets, the underground wonders, the people and creatures she's met. Each page pulses with magic, with the living energy of Paris. Taking a deep breath, Elise places her hand on the central gear of the mechanism. She closes her eyes, focusing on everything she's experienced, everything she's felt. The wonder of discovery, the joy of creation, the magic of connection, she lets it all flow through her and into the clockwork. As she does, the room begins to change. The frantic ticking of the clock slows, becoming a harmonious rhythm. The gears of the central mechanism, which had been grinding and sparking, begin to move smoothly. Through her closed eyelids, Elise can sense pulses of light emanating from the clockwork, spreading out through the tower and into the city beyond. When she opens her eyes, she sees Paris reforming through the windows of the control room. The fractured time streams are separating, past and future settling back into their proper places, the present solidifying. But the process isn't complete yet. Elise realizes that something more is needed, not just her own experiences, but the combined dreams and memories of everyone in Paris. "Julian," she calls out, "your music." And Celeste, "your stories of the Undercity." Maurice, your centuries of watching over Paris. We all need to contribute. Understanding her intention, her companions join her at the mechanism. Julian's violin sings out a melody that captures the city's endless nights of passion and creativity. Celeste's voice rises in a chant that echoes with the mysteries of the world below the streets. And Maurice closes his eyes, channeling generations of Parisian history through his touch. As their combined energies flow into the clockwork, the transformation accelerates. The Tower of Time begins to pulse with a warm, golden light that spreads out over the city. Elise can see the magic settling back into the streets, the buildings, the very air of Paris, but it's not returning to hide in secret places. Instead, it's infusing every part of the city, visible to anyone with the eyes to see it, accessible to anyone with the heart to believe. Slowly, the vibrations subside. The gears of the central mechanism find their perfect rhythm. Outside, Paris looks whole. Not unchanged, but renewed. The same beautiful city it has always been, but now with an extra sparkle of magic that's no longer hiding in the shadows. As Elise steps back from the mechanism, she feels a profound sense of accomplishment, of connection. She's not just a visitor to this magical Paris anymore. She's a part of it, a guardian of its wonder. Maurice approaches her, his eyes twinkling with gratitude and something like pride. Thank you, my dear. You've not only saved Paris, but you've helped an old clockmaker remember the true magic of the city. Celeste nods in agreement. You've done more than reset time, Elise. You've ushered in a new era for Paris, one where the magic is a little closer to the surface, a little more accessible to all. Julian takes her hand, squeezing it gently. So, what do you say? Ready to step out and see the Paris you've helped create? Elise looks out over the city, her city now, in a way it never was before. The sun is just beginning to rise, painting the sky in hues of pink and gold. It's a new day in a renewed Paris, full of possibilities and magic. With a smile that holds all the wonder of her night's adventure and all the promise of days to come, Elise nods. Yes, she says, her voice filled with joy and determination. Let's go paint the town with magic. As they descend the Tower of Time, stepping out into a Paris that bridges reality and enchantment, Elise knows that her greatest adventure is just beginning. She has a whole magical city to explore, to protect, to inspire, and a newfound power within herself to help shape the wonder of Paris for generations to come. The end, or perhaps just the beginning of a new chapter in the eternal, magical story of Paris.